Hello guys, welcome back to Pause and welcome back to our Studio Park build. So today we're going to just get straight into the time lapse, and while this is going on I'm going to talk you through what we're doing today. So I'm reworking this entire indoor scene of the ride that we did in the last episode or a couple of episodes ago. I wasn't too happy with the screens that we were using, and after watching a couple of YouTube videos last night, I've seen a few techniques that work really well on this kind of launch. And basically what I am going to do, as you'll see in a couple of minutes, is use the magma wall pieces to give a kind of speed effect. And it works really well actually. So you kind of make a tunnel of these magma pieces around the track, and as the train launches through, I've got various lighting and effects, and I will add some audio at some point. And it gives the impression that you are travelling through a wormhole in this instance. Sorry. So that's what we've done today, and that's what we're building just here right now. So these are the wall pieces I'm talking about. So I'll just make a little tunnel of these, and it turns out quite good, to be honest. And I didn't really want to use the billboards, as they do put quite a strain on the game, and I don't think the effect was good enough really. So this kind of will give us a speed effect, and like I said, the idea is that we're travelling through time here, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a space starfield as I did originally. It just, the sort of time travel can be anything really, and this is the kind of wormhole that we're using. It just so happens to be these magma pieces. So that's what we're doing today. We're building this. I also do a smaller version of this tunnel for the end of the ride, so as you are travelling back to the present. And I start work on the finale scene, which is basically a copy of the clock tower structure that we use for the facade of this building. We stick the exact same building in the finale scene of the ride, so that is what you are going to pass through as you return back to the station, just as a you're back in present time kind of feeling, is the thought process behind that. So as you can see here, I'm just making the tunnel entrance, so you gradually go into it and it's all sort of feeding into each other. It's not the neatest thing in the world, however, remember this is a dark ride, it's going to be dark. You aren't going to be, realistically, you will never ride this ride with the daylight sun shining on this. So as it is now with all the shiny reflections, that is never how you would see it. Obviously the limitation of the game is that has to be how it looks in the daylight, but POV, all POVs and actual footage of this ride will all be in the dark anyway, so you'll see how it's meant to be. The reason I'm adding these rocks is to break up the flat surface of the magma and to give it a little bit of texture. As you'll see in a little while when we get into the dark and start lighting this, it really helps having a bit of texture and just having a little bit of something sticking out. The effects that we use in the tunnel then, we've got some lights that shine directly at you. At the moment I might remove those, it just kind of detract from the effect. And there's also some smoke bursts that come up as you launch down the tunnel, and also some plasma effects, and they're kind of like plasma explosions. So they go off as you go through as well. Altogether it works out quite nice. I'm still not 100% happy with it, but I'm significantly more happy with this than I was with the billboard attempt that I tried off camera last time. The other thing we add one billboard to the end of the tunnel, just where that black area is at the moment. And all we have on that is just an explosion that happens as you approach. Again, that is the kind of moment as you are travelling through the time, or through time. And generally the idea that I'm going for now with this coaster, just so I might as well talk about it here, so I've not really explained it. The main show building, so the bit you go into just here, so as you are taking this, what's the word? As you're taking this element of the ride, this inversion, that takes you into the main show building, and generally what's going to happen in there, it's going to be pretty much a dark room. So think of Rock and Roller Coaster, think of Crusher's Coaster, Space Mountain, that kind of idea. It's going to be a dark room. Dotted around certain elements of the ride is going to be items, props, scenery, billboards, things that depict scenes from the Back to the Future trilogy. And as you go past them on the ride, they're going to light up, or the screens are going to turn on, or so on and so forth. So as you're going through, it will give the impression that you're just travelling through the different time periods and the different scenes within Back to the Future. So that's what I'm doing inside the ride. I'm not doing it as it's not going to be completely themed in there, because that will literally take us weeks. So that is what we're going to do, is various little scenes dotted around in different portions of the dark ride, lit up as you travel past using the triggers. So the scenes that I'm thinking already, I want to get some kind of train scene in there, as Back to the Future 2 or 3, I can't remember which one it is, has obviously the whole western element to it. So we've got a few train pieces, so that can be something that is like a bit of a jump scare as you're going past. Big train can appear. I'm going to try and get some kind of dinosaur element in there, as that's a bit that I do remember from the Back to the Future ride that used to be in Universal Studios. I'm sure there was a dinosaur section to that. I know we don't have any dinosaurs in the games. I might just use the big, like, what are they, like dragons? But I don't know. We'll see what happens if you can make it look pretty decent as you are flying past. But that's something we'll work on in the next couple of episodes. So here I'm just putting in that billboard that I was talking about. It's just a little explosion, nothing spectacular, but it just triggers as you go down the launch tunnel. So that's generally what we're doing today. While I've got you guys, let's have a talk about where this series is going so far. So thank you ever so much to everybody who has been commenting on all the videos, liking everything, and getting involved, as I've been asking a few questions recently. So a massive thank you to everybody out there that is joining in. One of the main things that I've been asking recently is for you guys to name this park, and I've had quite a lot of submissions for that. So that is something I think in the next episode we're going to announce the name, and I've had some absolutely brilliant suggestions. So thank you ever so much for everybody who has suggested things. It's really great to see that you guys get involved. And the other thing, the next ride theme poll is pretty much it's pretty obvious what the winner is going to be. So anyone who's looked at the results already, you will see which ride theme it's going to be. But I will do a full announcement of that, and also show where that ride is going to be in the next episode. So in episode, what will this be, 16, bloody hell, yeah, in episode 16 there will be a full announcement of the next area of the park that we'll start working on after the Back to the Future ride. So yeah, big things are coming, guys, so thank you ever so much again for all your support and interaction, and keep it coming. If you see something that I'm doing as well that you think could be improved, or you think, why am I doing that, just drop it down in the comment, ask, or give me some advice, because I'm no expert in this game, as you can quite clearly tell. So I'm open to suggestions, and I have been listening to you guys all the way through this build to try and improve, and I want to try and keep that going. So it's a community effort, this. So if you see something that looks really, really crap, just let me know and I'll go back and change it. As I said, I want this to be a community effort. So anyway, back to the footage. This is the little section I was talking about where I've added in the clock tower facade. It's literally just going to make up the end of the ride, a very slow turnaround into the station. I just wanted a sort of a light scene at the end, and something that could make it very obvious that you're back in the present. In terms of continuity, it doesn't really make sense that it's here. However, it's a ride. It doesn't need to make complete sense. Like I said, I just wanted something that's going to give the impression that you're back in the real time. It's going to be quite nicely lit in there. It's going to be the only scene of the ride that I'm going to give the impression that it's daylight, just so it seems like you're back in the present, and everything is back to normal. That's the idea of that scene. It needs a lot of work, but that's something we'll carry on into the next episode. So, like I said, generally think of this as a cross between the Back to the Future simulator ride that used to be at Universal Studios with a rocking roller coaster indoor dark theme. That's the idea of it, really. And I think it's coming together quite nicely. In all honesty, I've been kind of making it up as I've gone along with this build, because I didn't really have any kind of plan in mind before I started. A few people suggested coaster. Originally I was going to do it as another dark ride, but they're really time consuming to do a full dark ride. And obviously this park is built on that, so that's why this one is, I don't want to use the term cop-out, but it's definitely going to be on the lightly themed angle on the inside. But that realistic, that is how these rides kind of are. I mean, using Universal Studios as an example, the Revenge of the Mummy ride has got quite an elaborate queue, an elaborate facade. The first scene is sort of like a dark ride. You're going through like a temple, like a tomb, fire effects, all that kind of stuff. But the actual coaster portion of that ride is pretty naff. I mean, anyone who's been on it, it's very much this kind of idea. Big warehouse, going through some coaster elements. But they haven't even got proper scenery. From what I remember, it's just sort of cardboard cutouts of like mummy faces, lit up with UV like strobes. So it's very, very naff. I mean, the actual scenes in there that are in the dark ride sections are great, but the coaster bit itself is really awful. So real parks do this, so it's not unrealistic to have this kind of ride in a Studios park. And again, another example of that, in Disney Hollywood Studios in Paris, you've got Crush's Coaster, which again has got a lovely themed station and initial scene where you're going through like an underwater sea. I think there's some like jellyfish and things hanging down. But as soon as you get up the lift hill and into the actual ride itself, you're just in a warehouse with some lighting effects that look like you're under the water, like bubbles and things. As much as it's a great ride, again, it's the actual coaster portion is relatively low budget. So that's what I'm going for really with this. And that's why I've purposely made this end tunnel a lot squarer than the initial tunnel in there. At first I did just copy and paste it, but it was a bit big. And these kind of end tunnels to these rides, some of them sometimes they are a little bit naff, a little bit random. So that's basically what we're going for. So yeah, the end bit here is just think of it as like an end portal as you're travelling back to the present, and that's what we've gone for there with that sort of little naff scene. The reason why I've used the elevator doors is I just like the effect of them and the way they look. Again, it's going to be very dark, so you're not going to tell what they are. The one in the station works because it looks like it's just a door in the station. The one at the end of the sort of this return tunnel, again, you don't tell it's a elevator door when you're on the ride because it's very dark. So that's the reason why I've used that one, just in case anyone was wondering. Here I'm just testing a few lighting effects in there with the sort of massive floodlights. Again, they're the only one that really gives off quite a natural light. It does spill out into the surrounding area, which is something I need to have a look at. But again, that whole scene needs a lot of work, so that's something we will do in a future episode. So the last thing I'm doing today is just putting a little bit of lighting around the queue. Still got a bit more work to do in this, and I also want to put some more props around the queue line as well, as that's something that I haven't done just yet. So that's generally about it for today's video, guys. I'm going to leave you now with some kind of live shots of how everything looks outside and inside, and just a few little a little closer look at the scenes that we've done inside the ride today. So that's about it for today's episode. So thank you ever so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, give us a like down below, as it really does help us out. Any questions, queries, comments or suggestions for this video or anything else here on the channel, drop those down below as well. And as always, if you haven't already subscribed, please do that to stay up to date with all of our content. Thank you ever so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, bye.